Hello, my name is Robbie and welcome to Silence in the City. In this mini-series, I will talk about Christianity and how it applies to our daily lives using the movie adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. In this episode, we will see how the forging of the Great Rings shows how we as human beings have a very, shall we say, dangerous definition of power. So 3 rings given to the elves, 7 to the dwarfs, and 9 to the race of men. But there is deception involved. Sauron, the evil one, forges a master ring designed to control the others. This entire setup is very telling concerning how we, as human beings, define power. Usually, when we hear the word power, we tend to think of domination, of lording it over others, of being higher than others in a sense. Kings and queens, for example, will have subjects over whom they rule. Their power is defined, in a sense, in relation to their subjects, meaning they are higher, they have more power than their subjects. And that's the thing. The definition of power here requires subjects, requires others who are, in a sense, lower than me or have less power than I do. Others whom I can dominate. In a way, a king or a queen who has no subjects to recognize their authority and to respect it is no king or queen at all in the true sense of the word. And therein lies the problem. Who is the king or queen and who is the subject? By accepting this kind of setup where it's about domination, I myself become vulnerable to being dominated, to being subjugated, and I might not even be aware of it. Sure, I enjoy my power over others, but can I really tell if I myself am not being used by some other greater unknown power? This is pretty much what happened in the Garden of Eden when the serpent was tempting Adam and Eve to eat from the forbidden tree. The serpent was trying to convince them that if they ate of the fruit of that tree, they would be like God, knowing the difference between good and evil. Now, on the surface, that seems like a good thing, right? Why wouldn't I want to know the difference between good and evil? And yet, what often happens in reality is that when we think we know the difference between good and evil, between right and wrong, it becomes much easier to dominate others. It becomes much easier to blame others for the wrong that they do. It becomes much easier to get on a moral high horse, so to speak, to be better than others. The knowledge of good and evil that the serpent is offering symbolizes power as a domination move. I am convinced that I am a moral person, that I am a good person compared to others. Could be a specific person or even a group of people. I am better than them. I am higher than them. This, however, is a very empty definition of power. In fact, it's not real power in any sense of the word. How can I tell if my perception of right and wrong, of good and evil, is accurate or on point? I am very sure that my upbringing, my culture, my education, things that I received from the outside from other people, I am very sure these things influence how I see the world. These things will have a very great influence on my morality. Can I really be so sure that I am in control? That I am not just a puppet of my worldview, a worldview shaped by other people, by society, by ideals that were given to me or fed to me as a young person? Also, do I hold myself to the same standard as others? Or am I simply using my knowledge of morality, so to speak, my self-righteousness, as a way to bully others, as a weapon? And that's not even the worst part. The worst part comes when pride kicks in and I just cling to my self-righteousness. I cling to my own self-centered notions of morality. And so the idea of knowing the difference between good and evil somehow gives me the right to judge others. We argue back and forth. I think I'm right. You think you're right. We never see eye to eye, never truly get to communicate in any genuine manner. Our clinging to our own ideas of good and evil drives a wedge between us. It divides and scatters us. The name of the devil in the Bible, Diabolos, is derived from the Greek word diabalein, which means to scatter, to throw apart. By clinging to our righteousness, to our own rings of power, we bring about division among ourselves. In our minds, we are so convinced that what we are doing is right, when in reality, we are already doing what the Diabolos wants us to do. In our self-righteousness, we submit ourselves to the master ring, whose purpose is to scatter, divide, and destroy. Not all is lost, though. According to Galadriel, something happened that the ring did not intend, namely that Bilbo finds it. So, not everything is under the ring's control. Could this be implying then that there is another will in the background, beyond the ring, beyond Sauron? The ring and Sauron probably think that they alone rule. Perhaps they may have not considered the possibility that another will is simply allowing them to do what they do. In the Gospel, we have Pontius Pilate telling Jesus that he has the power to crucify him. But Jesus replies, "You would have no power over me unless it had been given you from above. Therefore, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin." It's not easy trying to resist the lure of the master ring. The feeling of being right is addictive, I must admit. It makes you feel you're in control. It might help, though, to take a step back and to ask ourselves if we really are in control. In The Lord of the Rings, even when it comes to Sauron himself, one wonders who truly is the real Lord of the Rings. That's it for this episode. If you like this content, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you would like to support the channel further, please visit the support link in the description below. Hope to see you next time.